guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I have a pretty entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. This from a guy, he is 65 years old. He's been married for like 40 some years, happily married and all that. Got married pretty young. And he shares his story from like 50 years ago about a gal that he was one of his first girlfriends who cheated on him and got pregnant. And to no surprise, didn't work out with the baby daddy. And for 50 years, on and off, she's been chasing after this guy. Because this guy obviously is a good guy, proving that they always come back. When things don't go well, they always go back to a good guy. And although the chasing has giant gaps in between it, the point is, they always come back. And of course, I might add that it goes to show you that you wait long enough, you're going to have the last laugh at anybody does you wrong. And last but not least, guys, the stuff I talk about in this channel, and I point out these stories to learn things, is timeless. What goes on now, went on 50 years ago. I kid you not. It says, Dear SSM, thank you for all the good work helping men of all ages. If this makes the cut to become a video, feel free to post it wherever you see fit. I had to make this as vague as possible, so a lot of the finer details had to be omitted. Oh, and English is my only language, so mistakes are likely to have been made. You can call me Blue Eyes after the Who song, Behind Blue Eyes. No, I'd rather just call you Joe. Joe it is. Although Blue Eyes comes back later in the story. That's your nickname, obviously. I'm 65 years old, and I would like to send this story of my marriage, but I do not think I would survive all the smacks that you give me. But don't worry, I will get plenty of well-deserved smacks right here. Well, sir, my smack in hand is ready, because I did a couple other stories, a couple other videos before I'm filming this one. It's all warmed up. Instead, this is my story on how they always come back, and so forth. In this case, with my first true love. I first met Helena, fake name, back in 1973-1974. In middle school, had some small talk at the lockers, but nothing ever went beyond small talk that ended with her just walking away. Later, she told me she was just shy back then. 1973-74, I wasn't even born yet. Holy crap. Well, fast forward to high school, I turned 16 and got my driver's license, and it was time to start dating. I went to a small county school that had basically three groups of people: the jocks, the nerds, and the druggies. Well, this is the 70s. I was in the middle group with a small part of jock. She was in the third group. Smack! So it was Jenny from fucking Forrest Gump that you were into, although a little bit later in time. You know how that turned out. I was a classic good guy and still am to some degree today, but USSM are helping to fix that. Well, I want you to be a good guy, I just don't want you to be a pushover. So eventually I finally did ask her out. We started dating regularly, me exclusively, and as I later learned, her not so much. Well, that's what happens when you're with the druggie. Our dates were the usual dates of 16 and 17-year-olds. Fast food, cheap movies, and some kissing and groping in the car afterwards. She never let me go past second base, even though there was always protection in the car. Well, unfortunately, she didn't see as one of the chattered Tyrones, so therefore you only got to second base. Well, then came the day it all changed. She was laying across the bench seat of the car, her head in my lap looking up at me. I had my hand up Helena's top to caress her when I discovered they felt different. I knew right away that she was pregnant, and I told her I knew. That was the only time our date ended early. And there you go. That's what happens when you date or get into a relationship with the druggie. About a week later, she called and explained. I can explain. And she probably said that while she was high. And explained that she was seeing the other guy for her drugs, and things just happened when she was high. Oh, well. Well, Jenny, okay then. Then you get a free pass. No, I don't think so. No matter what, the damage was done. I do have to give her credit, though. She stopped all the drugs, and when she told her mother about her pregnancy, she was quick to say that I was not the father. Well, that's good. That was probably the second big blow to her mother about it. Her mother liked me and did not like the baby daddy. Well, that's usually how it works. The good guys the moms like, you know? Well, she ended up marrying the baby daddy and had a girl. We will call her Mel. As for me, I never dated in high school again. Dude, after that experience, I wouldn't either. I got on my grind and completed high school a semester early, got my first real job, and started part-time in college. I was 18 and working at an entertainment business that catered mostly to preteen and younger teens, so there was little opportunity to date. I was still living home at the time and got a few random phone calls from a girl who would not tell me her name. This was long before cell phones and caller ID. Man, caller ID. I remember we got caller ID when I was in junior high. That was a big deal. I was the first person to get it. So like my buddies would call and be like, "Hey Frank," or "Hey Brian," and they're like, "Dude, how'd you know it was me?" Caller ID. Sometimes when she called, I would hear a noise in the background, and she would quickly hang up the phone. I just wrote off as one of the young girls that would frequent my work. So I told her to stop in my department and say hello. Well, a while later, guess who shows up? Yes, it was Helena, with one of her younger sisters in tow. I helped them get the stuff they needed and sent them out for their fun with very little conversation. After all, I was at work. After they walked out, I showed my coworker my hand. It was like shaking the gunslinger's hand in Blazing Saddles. He asked what was going on, and I told him that this was my ex and that she just walked out. So you're playing all cool, but then the second she's gone, you're nervous and all that. Well, at the end of the night, they returned. She handed me her phone number and told me she got divorced and to call her. No. Why would you call her? She cheated on you. And then she's a single mom. Why the hell would you do that? At this point, Mel, her baby, was about 6 months old, and the two of them lived in an apartment downtown. Not your problem. Yes, I used the number and gave her a call. Smack! Why? Why? Were you regretting you never got to go all the way with her? Well, look what happened to the guy that did go all the way with her. Well, we set up a date at her apartment, and I went to see her. We talked most of the night away, and when the time came to sleep, all three of us slept on the same mattress on the floor. On the floor? No, nothing happened, not even a spark of what once was. After that night, we both went our own ways, and I didn't see her again until she comes back again. So, you shouldn't have gone and seen her that time, but after this whole thing, you went over there, and clearly you're like, oh hell no, crying baby, all that. Guys, when I was 21, there was a gal I was friends with, and about a year and a half earlier, we both really liked each other, but she had a boyfriend. I went to school with her, and she broke up with him, and guess what? No, she was still with him, and she got pregnant, and she was going to have his kid, and so she was, I think, 19 years old at the time, and I was like, whew, I dodged a big one because I liked her, and there was chemistry. And I later on found out she was going to break up with her boyfriend to date me, but she got pregnant. That was the end of it. Well, to no surprise, she had the kid, and she lost the weight, looked really good after she had the kid, and she and that guy didn't work out. Or guess who she was afterwards? Me. By then I was 21 years old, a little wiser, and I remember going to her house, just like this. Yeah, you can smack me for that. And she was hoping. And I remember her showing me her baby and everything, and it was so freaking awkward. It's like, I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And let me tell you guys, I mean, she was hot. She was probably one of the best-looking chicks that ever really liked me at that point in my life. But even then, it's like, oh, hell no. So, yeah. Anyhow, several years later on my 21st birthday, and also my wedding night, she showed up at my reception. What? Number one, you got married on your 21st birthday? Smack! Way too fucking young. She showed up at your reception? I'm surprised your wife didn't open a can of whoop ass on her. Well, the wedding hall had 2 levels, and she cornered me on the landing in between and hugged me. My bride then turned the corner at the top of the stairs. Luckily, my bride saw I was not returning the hug, nor was I enjoying it. Aw, man, please tell me your bride, now wife, whooped her ass. After her Hail Mary pass did not work at me, she made a pass at my best man. We will call him Chump. Unfortunately for him, she landed that one. 6 months later, they were married. What the fuck? Smack to your friend. Okay, so this is going to be marriage number 2 for her. Didn't you warn him? Well, of course you did. But still, he wanted to get some easy pussy. He figured, shit, if she had a baby at like 17, she must be a slut, so he's going to get some action. And she roped him in. My bride and I escaped that small town and moved halfway across the country. Who could blame you? About a year and a half later, we get a phone call from Chump. He and Helena had moved 2 hours away and they needed a place to stay because he lost his job. We told them they could stay for 1 week because that was the rules of the apartment, even though it could have been 2. But it gave them some time to get some money from their parents to move back home. When they arrived, it was the 2 of them, and Mel, now a preschooler, and the kicker, Helena was 7.5 months pregnant. So now she's back in your life. Now she's staying at your place. We got along with Chump and the kid just fine, but Helena wisely stayed in the spare room. We kept them to the 1 week. They got their money from their families and were gone. I'm kind of shocked that your wife allowed that. I guess she was, going for some Christian charity or something like that, given the fact that she obviously knew about her, and she came to your freaking wedding and was, trying a last-ditch Hail Mary effort to get you. Well, the wife and I moved back to our home state. Another one of our high school friends, Chump and mine, was about to get married, so Chump and had the bachelor party at his house. As the drinking and card games were about to start, Helena stopped by to grab something, and I could tell right away that Helena was back to her old ways. No shit. You mean people don't change? Of course she did not either. I knew Chump's marriage was over. He just didn't know it yet. His marriage was over before he even married her. She left him 2 months later, leaving him with their 2-year-old son and Mel, who was about 6 years old at the time. She is a piece of garbage. She abandoned him and the boy and her oldest daughter. And now he, the stepfather to the 6-year-old Mel, she's a piece of garbage. Well, I stayed in contact with Chump off and on throughout the years, and Mel, to this day, still calls me Uncle. She knows Helen and I were a thing for a bit, but I do not know how in-depth that goes. It was years later before the daughter Mel learned of the sperm donor that was her blood father. Then in 2022, so we're really fast-forwarding in time here, Helena contacted me on Facebook and informed me of Chump's passing and the upcoming remembrance in his honor. So, did they ever divorce, or she just left him for a while and came back? That's what I'd like to know. I made the hour drive alone, my wife does not travel well these days, to attend it and to see Chump's surviving family. I was not sure if Helena would be attending or not. When I arrived, Helena was not there, but Mel was there and greeted me with a big hello, Uncle Blue Eyes, and gave me a big hug. Well, that'd be kind of cool to see her after all these years. Helena's older sister was also there. I'd never met that sister before, but I knew one time she had a crush on my older brother, and like I said, a small-town country school. When Helena arrived, she said her hellos to her direct kin, and sat on the edge of the table. I finished my conversation with one of Chump's brothers and walked up to Helena. I said hello to her, and I said, "You don't recognize me, do you?" She replied with a no. Then from off to the side came Mel and said, "Mom, that's Uncle Blue Eyes." Oh boy, here we go. So she contacted you on Facebook, but she didn't recognize you in person. Maybe you just, I don't know, maybe you didn't have an actual picture or something, or an older picture. I don't know. Well, Helena jumped off the table, grabbed my hand, and pretended to haul me off, saying, "I'm not done with you yet." Holy crap, 50 fucking years, she's still trying to get you? Dude, Mr. Joey Blue Eyes here, sound like a mobster. Joey Blue Eyes here. Yeah, you're the man. She then gave me a big hug that lasted longer than I was comfortable with. When the hug was over, I asked her older sister if she knew who I was, and she replied, "Yes, you and our brother look alike." After that, there was a little small talk with Helen about families. Then she told me that she really effed up getting pregnant and having to let me go. I think I dodged a big one. You bet your ass you dodged a big one, man. At the end of the event, the goodbyes were said, no hug, and I have not talked to her since, nor do I plan to. So to this date, that is my story of They Always Come Back. Thanks again to SSM for all your hard work. Well, man, that's an entertaining story. I think that is the longest period of time of them always coming back and always wanting you I've ever covered. 50 freaking years. And you know what? You're 65 now. I guarantee you, dude, she's going to be watching you on Facebook. And I guarantee you this is not over. Something will cause her to come see you one more time. There's going to be at least one more. Kid you not. You got to outlive her, man. Keep living healthy. You got to outlive this chick so you can know she's gone. She's not going to keep showing up. You end up at the same old folks' home one day or something like that. But anyhow, guys, like I said, they always come back when things don't go well. And of course, like I mentioned, you live long enough, you're going to see people that do you wrong. Karma comes their way. I just feel, I won't say I feel bad for your friend that married her because he should have known better. I'm sure you warned him. But I do feel bad for the kids because obviously she was just a freaking, well, she was like Jenny from Forrest Gump. You know what happened to Jenny, except Helena lived. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you got a good story to share, whether it's something that happened to you last month or 50 years ago. I don't care. If it's relevant, send it my way, and I'll definitely cover it if it's a good one. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.